other Aston Martin of Stefan Mucker. He is climbing up the order a little bit after their disappointing qualifying. He qualified in 13th, he's now up to 10th, he's run a little bit wide there. That could put him under a little bit of pressure from Jonathan Hershey. As we go on board in the number 4 Hex, is just a little bit further back, who's got a grandstand seat of this.
Yeah, but look at the Aston Martin, it's getting absolutely mirrored by one of the Belgian 4GTs, by the BDS 4GT, and clearly the third of those cars, the Silver 4GT, is the quicker of Jonathan Hershey in that car, trying everything he can to put the... Oh, he goes up the inside in turn. It's the first time we've seen anybody this weekend, and there is contact, and naturally there's bodywork, and also it allows the Hexus Aston Martin to get ahead of the Stefan Mucker car. And Stefan Mucker, of course, we've seen in previous rounds getting into trouble, but that was a brave, courageous, and maybe very risky move, as the Aston now, the Hexus Aston, tries to get a move on the Ford into turn 1.
So Piccini now in the number 4 Hexus, he's going to get the cut back as well into turn 2, so that's 2 positions made up for the Piccini Hexus Aston Martin in as many corners. Great racing is not over yet. Look, where's he come from?
No, he can't do that, he's got to drop back. He drove up the inside of turn 10.
Bas Linders.
And what Baz is doing, he's going to have to drop back. He cannot hold that position, he must move over and let those cars get through.
Oh, the Ford is trying to get back up the inside once again. This is brilliant racing. Hershey forcing his way back past the Aston. Surely we will see Bas Linders move over, because he just drove past them off the circuit.
He just took the shortcut, and there are humps built into the racetrack to preclude anybody from doing that. We're not the only people who have been watching that little move, so we wait to see whether there will be any comment from the stewards regarding that 4GT driven by Bas Linders, car number 40.
So all that means that Andrea Piccini has found his way into, I think, 10th position now. So he is the first car in this queue. Then we've got Bas Linders, but surely he's not going to be there for much longer. And we've got Stefan Mucker, and he's coming under quite a bit of pressure from Jonathan Hershey now as they descend the hill. We saw that overtake then into the turn 17 hairpin. We weren't sure whether it could be done or not.
And I'll tell you what, Bas Linders is not thinking about making a pit stop, because he's working the back of the car just ahead of him all the way. There we see the rear view of the Ford, looking at the 4GT from behind. Now, is Bas Linders going to concede ground, which he must do?
There's no two ways about it, really, is there? He just drove over the runoff and overtook. So we're looking back to this battle with on board we go now with David Brabham. He's in the Lamborghini Sandwich. He's behind Mark Basseng and in front of Dominic Schwager. Both of them in the Alinkle.com Munich Motorsport team, who still lead the Teams Championship coming into this weekend, although Lucas Luhr and Michael Crum are at the top of the Drivers' Championship. Brabham, though, he's been this close for a number of laps now. Just can't find
down the inside in turn 6. Good move by David Brabham. Got down, forced the Lamborghini wide, and Mark Basseng will not be happy about that, but that was a fair move. There was minor contact, but in a circuit like this where there's so little room to maneuver, you've got to say, well, that was about as fair as you can get. Any more than that, you'd say, well, he took advantage and it was an avoidable incident. So the 2 Lamborghinis now running, and will it be Dominic Schwager or Mark Basseng who will lead these 2 cars at the end of this lap? Because I think it's Mark Basseng who's struggling, and that's the reason why David Brabham could find a way through. And I'm no doubt that Dominic Schwager will also want to make the move on his fellow teammate, but maybe not making contact in the process.
Absolutely. Brabham certainly caught me by surprise. I was looking at you because I wasn't expecting a move into turn 7.
You can see that coming about 3 corners ago.
Well, this is why you're a racing driver, and I just shout about it. So down into the final sequence of corners, we've still got then the 38 Lamborghini of Mark Basseng, closely followed by Schwager.
But watch to see whether the team play the team game and allow the quicker of the 2 cars, which is the second, I think, of these 2 Lamborghinis, to get the advantage. In other words, to take the heat off the Schwager car coming from behind from the Hexus Aston Martin. But no, Mark Basseng is deciding, well, he sort of opens the door and says, well, I'll let you come through, but not quite sufficient. The message wasn't clear enough, but it is obvious that Mark Basseng hasn't got the performance to maintain the fight to the Nissan, which is just pulling away. David Brabham pulling away comfortably by virtually a second a lap.
And they do need to work together, because Clivio Piccioni is right up behind, and so this battling has allowed the Hexus Aston to get right in on this scrap. So it's a 3-way battle. Surely the Alinkle.com cars will kind of have a little work together.
The trouble is, you've got the team boss, Mark Basseng, leading the employed professional driver in the second car. Now, I don't know what way they work out between themselves within the team, whether there'll be information going backwards and forwards to the pits to convey the information to Mark Bessang that Dominic Schweiger actually is quicker, and let him go. And now see the Aston Martin headlights flashing, trying to Clivio Piccioni distract the second of those two Lamborghinis of Dominic Schweiger.
So they turn their way through turns 12 and 13. This is the battle for 5th position now that David Brabham has got into 4th and just scampered on off the road. There he is, already dropping down towards turn 16. It's been a massive advantage, but now Piccioni is closer to Schwager than Schwager is to Bessang. So into the final corner they come, a wider line taken. That's going to allow the Aston Martin to get a better run out of the corner. He's going to be right in the slipstream now. Across the start-finish line they go. And is he going to get enough of a tow down this start-finish straight? Turn 1 is an overtaking opportunity, but it's not quite close enough.
Not close enough, but it's an indication that Clivio Piccioni is lining up. And again, we've got Mark Bessang holding off his teammate, and in effect holding up his teammate, which is putting him under pressure from Clivio Piccioni. Piccioni right on the rear of the Lamborghini. It's not the gearbox on the rear of in the Lamborghini, it's the engine, because the gearbox in the Lamborghini actually is ahead of the engine. It's one of the strange configurations that Lamborghini had. This car, of course, in its production form is a 4-wheel drive car. In the race form, it's a 2-wheel drive car.
So through the right-hander at turn 6, up towards turn 7, across the end of sector 1. That's what that white line is across the circuit. Piccioni looking like he's got a fairly decent run out of there. I don't think this chicane is a real overtaking opportunity unless you're very, very brave, because it's very narrow as well, but it's an opportunity to get some air, that's for sure, as they head out towards turn 11.
Yeah, the key out of turn 10 is good, clean exit. Don't run too wide, don't catch the dirt on the outside of the circuit. And, well, Mark Bessang seems to have almost demotivated, because we're now seeing that whole train of 3 cars slowing down to the pace of Mark Bessang. As look at that, Clivio Piccioni, very ambitious, looking to go down the inside into turn 14. Not possible, the track isn't effectively wide enough with the racing line. So Clivio Piccioni coming up now to turn 16 into 17, dives down the inside, gets it alongside, and again, you know, you could see it coming.
Yeah, I saw that one coming, that's for sure. So out onto the start-finish straight they come. Clivio Piccioni moving up into 6th place, but for how long? Because there's a very concerned looking...
Marcus Winkelhock's, absolutely, I don't believe what I've just seen. Now we're seeing Dominic Schweiger coming back around the outside, gets a better run off the corner, but gets onto the dirty outside of the corner, has to concede. And I think you're seeing a very, very unhappy Dominic Schweiger. He didn't think that was a fair and reasonable pass into turn 17. Nicky Pastorelli, teammate of Dominic Schweiger, he's sitting there seething. You can see the anger in his face.
Absolutely. There's the replay then. It was that late move up into turn 17. Was it all started because he brakes earlier?
No, it was all because Mark Bessang braked so early, and then Dominic Schweiger followed suit. And Clivio Piccioni saw the deal, said, I don't have to think about it, I'm going to do it. If I'm going to have contact, well, there, so it may be, so it may. So there is Piccioni. You can see the damage on the left-hand side of the car. How quickly can he now catch up to Mark Bessang in front in the 38 car? Across the runoff there, that's Michael Rossi taking a little shortcut, and now he's found himself in the grass, spins back almost in front of the circuit, doesn't quite lose it. Michael Crum diving up the inside now as they come down into turn 11. Through he goes. Is there enough room? Rossi's going to have the inside line for the right-hander at turn 12, and he holds onto the position, but Crum has got the cutback once again. That's not an overtaking opportunity into 14. Brilliant racing. But the problem for the Corvette is that it's got its tires all dirty by doing the run wide. That's why Michael Crum got the run on, but he couldn't get sufficient position to make it stick. Now he's having to deal with pressure coming from behind, and the Corvette's running away. It's the second of the Hexas Aston Martins. It certainly is. It's the number 4 machine of Andrea Piccini, who is going to be putting Michael Crum under pressure as soon as he gets the earliest opportunity. And then it's Bas Linders behind, so we didn't actually see Bas Linders relinquish those positions from earlier on. But anyway, here comes the look towards the inside from Andrea Piccini. Not close enough into turn 1 this time around, but Michael Crum, from being on the attack, all of a sudden has to go on the defence in this battle over 9th position. And it all stemmed really from Rossi running wide, back them all into each other. Of course, remember that the Crum Lucas Lucar is carrying a substantial success penalty. I mean, it's a lot of weight, and that has a significant bearing on just how you can use your car, but in particular your tires, your brakes, and he doesn't have all the options that you might imagine. That Peter Dumbreck running still in 2nd place, but now just under 3 seconds behind the leading 4 GT of Fred Makovicky.
On board we go with Andrea Piccini looking back at running very wide there was Bas Linders. That's going to lose him a lot of speed. As you saw, they were warned not to go too far over because it can do damage to your tyres.
I wonder if there's been no comment about that move Bas Linders made when he came through turn 2 into turn 3, shot across the inside of the corner, picked up position. We have not yet been advised on screen that there's a penalty for that, and I wonder why not. I mean, ordinarily, when you gain an advantage by shortcutting a corner, there's a penalty that will be almost automatically served. Still waiting for the information on screen.
It could be there, you know, there's some debate as to what the penalty should be because it was such a clear advantage gain. But anyway, these 4 or 5 cars drop down now. Marc Basseng has been caught by the number 3 Hexus Aston of Clivio Piccioni. Out onto the start, finish straight they come. And Piccioni, I was expecting him really to bring Dominic Schwager with him, but he hasn't. Now the 2 Nissans have closed up as well, actually. Brabham was looking...
well, he's just gone gangbusters once he's got clear of Marc Basseng, and he's run down the 3rd place car, or third place.
He was 3rd place, wasn't he, Benoldi? And now
Benoldi's dropped back. So these 2 Nissans have been literally, David Brabham's doing a fantastic job. Last lap time for David Brabham was a 1:41. The lead car's doing 1:40s, but Benoldi had a 42. That was the reason.
Yeah,
that was the time loss in the overtake.
Yeah. So I think this will be Brabham's first lap in clear air, so we'll see what kind of lap times he can pull out. He is some 13 seconds off the lead at the moment, but we return to this battle for 5th position. What we did for a moment. Here it comes now, up towards the chicane, up towards the little jump that we've got built into this circuit. Look at that, the Lambo, all 4 wheels off the circuit. Then this following train of Michael Rossi ahead of Michael Crum, and then a little bit sideways from Andrea Piccini, but nothing too dramatic at the moment. But this is a nice little train we've got going on here, which I think will start to get a little bit exciting shortly, because although it is a fairly long distance race, you know, it's not Le Mans 24, there's still an urgency to get past.
Very much so, and of course it's all conditional. This will determine your start positions. Clivio Piccioni made a very bold move up the inside into turn 17. He's not going to try it again. No, it's been defended very well by Marc Basseng, but he's aware of the Aston. The Aston right now, and again under the rear wing of the Lamborghini, is V12 power versus V12 power. The Aston, very slippery, really, that car designed to run at Le Mans. It is not a sprint car in the sense that others around, lights flashing, trying to distract Marc Basseng, and has to come back from the dirty part of the track. Now the tyres on the Lamborghini are going to be slightly dirtier than those than on the Aston, but no advantage to Marc Basseng.
And here comes Dominic Schwager as well, so he has now been brought back into the scrap.
To the right, you can see there's very slight damage to the right front of that car, and I suspect that Nicky Pastorelli is going to get into that car very shortly. The pit stop window will open in 40 seconds from now, and maybe the Dominic Schwager car will be one of the very early visitors to the pit lane.
Possibly, or even Marc Basseng, in fact, to try and put a Marcus Winkelhock in there, who by rights is possibly the quicker driver of the 2. So we'll see how the pit stop strategies pan out.
20 seconds to go. Yeah, they'll get round. They'll be on the pit straight after the 20 seconds has disappeared. So at the earliest opportunity, driver changes and tyre changes.
So this order still unchanged, but now the Stefan Mucker is now getting involved in that battle as well. Here is our race leader. We've hardly seen anything of Fred Makovicky. Such has been his dominance. He's got a 3-second advantage at the front of the field, so there's no point bringing him in when he's, you know, the class of the field at the moment.
Well, it's the judgment the team make. Do you bring your driver in at the earliest opportunity? It depends a little bit, as usual, as where you'd filter back in. But now we see the pit window is open, and no doubt some of the cars that we saw with drivers preparing will be in there as one of the Nissans dives in.
So David Brabham comes across the line in 3rd place to be the fastest man on the circuit last time around. Enrique Benoldi is in the pits, but Brabham lapped 0.3 of a second quicker. We've also got Michael Rossi diving into the pits. We've also got Michael Crum and Stefan Mucker, so it's about to get very, very busy down there in the pit lane, and how these guys pan out will be very, very interesting. So we have got the 38 car of Marc Basseng in there, and he's going to hand over to Marcus Winkelhock in the Alinkel.com Munich Motorsport car. There goes Michael Crum down the pit lane as well. So a good pit stop time is about 21-22 seconds, really. That's the time you want to be stationary for. And away goes the 20 car, which was Enrique Benoldi, but he hands over to Nicky Katzberg. Out goes Marcus Winkelhock as well. It's going to take a couple of laps